Maggie.
I'm Ella.
And welcome to episode 4 of Game Day Girls.
Starting off strong with the Thursday night football game, Bucks vs. Falcons. That game was definitely an offensive powerhouse. Kirk Cousins, 510 yards, 4 TDs, 1 interception. The Buccaneers defense really didn't have much to say for him. In terms of the Buccaneers, Baker Mayfield still played really well.
Yeah.
180 yards, 3 touchdowns.
2 of those to Mike Evans. Both teams I think looked really well. I think they should both be pleased with how they played. Going into overtime, clearly you both played well, and it's just the matter of fact of who gets the job done. Like you said, Kirk Cousins, he just played lights out. 500 yards. I just think he's finding himself that this is the place that he needs to be. In Atlanta, I think Atlanta should be pleased that this is their quarterback, I think.
Yeah, I really agree. I think that he's shown very early on that he can throw to anyone, and I think that really spread out the Buccaneers defense. And obviously this game went into overtime, so it was still really close. And the Falcons won the toss and catch and run down the field for a touchdown. So
yeah, it's kind of rough going back to school. The Jets, they just 2-3 now, and I kind of knew last week, the Vikings in London, both teams travel far. Kind of knew it was going to be a loss, but I was very angry with the first half. Aaron Rodgers, he tries to be the hero, I think, too much, and I think he just is throwing these passes that he just can't make, or he's just forcing it, and it just costs him so much. He threw that pick 6, and it's just like, what are you doing? What are you seeing?
Yeah.
I think that we couldn't get the run game going in the first half at all. Our offensive line really needs to step up for this next week against the Bills, because if we don't, we got Breece Hall. Everyone knows that he's easily the second best running back in the league, but right now it's not showing.
Yeah.
So I think we need to work better with that. I think our defense played well. They played really well.
I really agree.
They held them to. The defense only gave up 10 points. It was 17-7 at half, but the defense only gave up 10 points. So I'm pleased with how they're playing. And Sauce Gardner was out for basically all the third. So I think they're playing really well. It's just our offense needs to find it and click.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think that the offensive line definitely needs to work. You have this great running back that can easily, get you yards. And I think that, you're risking Aaron Rodgers, who's 40 years old now and isn't, obviously, as he said himself, he's just not going to be recovering those injuries as fast. And, I think he suffered a low ankle sprain.
Yeah.
And, that's just going to prohibit his performance even further.
Yeah.
And with this team being 2-3.
2-3, yeah.
I think that, they have potential to go to the playoffs if they have to start playing well.
Yeah, I think this next week, though, on Monday Night Football, Aaron Rodgers, he played great. He's played great, against the Patriots. That was a team I wanted to see, and I think we saw that in the second half from them against the Vikings. It was just the matter of, we had a chance to go and win the game. We were on that last drive, and he just forced the ball that shouldn't have been forced. It was a bad ball, and I think he needs to be – that's when I think when you have a veteran quarterback, you feel better about it in those game-winning situations, and he just couldn't execute them.
Obviously, with Aaron Rodgers getting hurt, pretty early in the season last year, and some new receivers, they're not going to be on the coordination level that you would hope for. But I think that takes some time, and I even think with the last interception that Aaron Rodgers threw, I think if Mike Williams turns around for the ball or cuts in general, I think it could have been an incomplete pass or even maybe a completion. In a tough division like the AFC North and honestly a tough conference, I don't think 9-8 is going to get the playoffs. I don't even think 10-7 is going to get them in the playoffs. I think they can maybe lose 2 more games max. We'll end up seeing, but for a team like the Bengals, all these fans, you're oh, they're almost there, they're going to win this game, and they blew it.
They just can't. Yeah, I think part of it though is the head coach.
Yeah,
I think
agree.
that I don't know why you are running it 3 times in a row.
Yeah.
You have Jamar Chase, you have T. Higgins, you have the guys that you need.
Yeah.
Put the ball in Joe Burrow's hands and you win the game.
Yeah, I agree completely. I think Zach Taylor should be fired, personally. You have a quarterback that played lights out. The whole game. He went 30 for 39, 392 yards, 5 touchdowns. On 1 interception that, wasn't a great thrown ball from him, but, it wasn't the greatest route either.
Yeah, and then Jamar Chase, he had 193 yards, 2 touchdowns. T. Higgins had 2 touchdowns. It's you have it, you have the pieces, it's just executing, and like I said, I think the play calling was really bad.
Yeah, I think it was really
on that last drive. It was just, the missed field goal, that's unfortunate, it happens, and then, just handed a gift and they couldn't.
I mean, you're paying your quarterback $60 million to throw the ball. Why are you running it?
Yeah, and I mean, Derrick Henry, everyone knows, like, you got to prepare for him better, I think, in that type of situation. You know, they just let him one play, won them that game.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think they did a decent job in the first, second, third quarter, but I think, honestly, the defense might have gotten tired, and obviously Derrick Henry's huge.
It's hard to take him down.
It's hard to take him down. He's so big, like, you have to take him down with the legs, or he's just not going to go down.
Yeah. And I mean, last night's game was crazy too with the Chiefs and the Saints. I mean,
yeah.
I don't know how you're feeling right now.
Horrible. We started out 2-0. Now we're 2-3.
You know, I think the Chiefs, they should be really happy right now. You're 5-0 going into your bye week, and now, like, this is without Pacheco. This is without Rashee Rice. This is without Hollywood Brown. These are without their top players, and you're still finding ways to win games.
Yeah, I definitely think that, like, if you look at the Chiefs and, like, how they play, obviously they're 5-0 right now, but don't you feel like they could have easily, you know, have a losing record right now?
Yeah, I think these games could have gone either way that they've won, like the Bengals game.
Yeah.
They could have gone either way, but I think that for the Chiefs, the biggest thing was, like, last night we saw Patrick Mahomes finding Travis Kelce, getting those plays, getting him involved because he is a playmaker. So I think getting him involved was their biggest thing, and Xavier Worthy too.
Yeah. I would think Xavier Worthy is going to be taking, you know, the lead role as a receiver, and I think that he's very, very capable of it. I mean, you're on the fastest 40-yard dash.
Yeah. And, I mean, I think the biggest issue for the Saints last game was the run game. They just couldn't get anything going.
Yeah, Kamara really didn't do much.
The issue was they just kept going. I know you want to go up middle, but with him, I feel like you could easily go outside on the perimeter and get so much more out of it, and I think they needed to do a better job with that.
Yeah, I think that Derek Carr, again, didn't play well. I mean, you look at the defense, and I think it was, what was the final score? I think 23 to...
It was like 26-13.
Yeah, 26-13, and, like, 26 points still isn't that horrible. With the amount of turnovers from, I mean, Derek Carr, that some of them were just like, why are you throwing that? Like, throw it out of bounds or take the sack. Like, I just don't know what the
just
purpose of that.
It.
Yeah. Going into the next game, 49ers-Cardinals, very close game, 24-23. I mean, sad that they lost their kicker from that from that return, but I mean, it is what it is, I guess. I think that both teams didn't play well, but obviously the Cardinals came out on top. Kyler Murray, 19 for 30, one touchdown, 195 yards. Brock Purdy, 19 for 35, 245 yards, one touchdown. Like, I think that, you know, the numbers aren't as high as we're used to for both teams, but I think they'll bounce back for next week, and I think as long as the 49ers get their players back, you know, they're still losing Christian McCaffrey, Deebo Samuel. I mean, up front, that offense is just injured.
Yeah, and I mean, you got, Christian McCaffrey out. That's, you know, a run that they would have had for, say, 20 yards, that would be a touchdown for if it was Christian McCaffrey carrying the ball. It's just the difference that he brings out to their team. But, I mean, it's impressive that the Cardinals could go all the way to San Francisco and get out there and get that win. So that's huge for them and another step in the right direction.
The San Francisco 49ers, I mean, I think you thought you could have gone 17-0 this season. And obviously they're 2-3 right now, but I think they can bounce back. Like, they have Kyle Shanahan, they have Brock Purdy, like, they have, you know, Brock Purdy.
So they got the players that they need. It's just, like I said, it's all these teams. It's just the execution. You have the players with the Jets. You have the players. You have people. It's just the execution has to be there, especially for the Bengals too.
Yeah, I definitely agree.
All right, so that's it for episode 4 of Game Day Girls. We'll see you next episode.